40% of Trump supporters said they voted for him in 2024 specifically because they thought he could fix inflation. Well, a gallon of gas on average is up $1.06 since Trump began bombing Iran. That's a 36% increase. Some parts of this country, it's even more. They're talking close to $5 a gallon. We're saying, some of my listeners are telling me they're paying $6 a gallon. Brent crude in the past week has closed at times as much as $116 a barrel. Before the war, it was $72 a barrel. So there's a ripple effect. In fewer than 5 weeks, we're seeing a ripple effect. The NASDAQ dropped 12% off its October highs. That's way into what they call correction territory. The International Monetary Fund out with a report saying all roads lead not just to higher prices, but a global recession. That's the evil International Monetary Fund predicting something we haven't seen since the 70s, stagflation. That means a recession and inflation. Now, Economics 101, which is garbage, but it's the entire Federal Reserve is built on the belief that you can control an economy by raising and lowering interest rates to balance inflation and unemployment. That's how these things work. So stagflation leaves the Federal Reserve powerless. Because if we're in a recession with inflation, lowering interest rates to juice the economy, cheap money, that's what Trump is demanding from Jerome Powell. He wants cheap money, low interest rates. Well, conventional wisdom is cheap money creates inflation. But stagflation means inflation, unemployment, inflation, recession. So the Federal Reserve doesn't know what to do. Either way, it loses, we think. Nobody really knows what causes inflation. They don't. It isn't government spending, I can assure you that. I can assure you that a social safety net doesn't cause inflation. Republicans want you to believe that because they don't want a social safety net. They want the labor force desperate and willing to accept starvation wages. JetBlue saying it has no choice now but to raise baggage fees as the cost of jet fuel has doubled in the past month. Airlines cutting back on flights while raising the price of a ticket. It's spring, and this is where it gets really serious. Farmers here in the United States and around the world are planting crops with the cost of fertilizer up 30%. Can't make certain fertilizers without petroleum products. 30% of the world's fertilizer, or some of the chemicals that go into fertilizer, 30% flow through the Strait of Hormuz. It is now estimated that $194 billion was erased from the Middle East's economy since the war started. In 1 month, 4 million people in the Middle East have plunged into poverty, and they can't afford food. The Persian Gulf also produces 8% of the world's aluminum, and Iran knows this. After they hit an aluminum plant in Bahrain, one of the largest, and then another one in the UAE, another one of the largest aluminum plants in the world, the price of aluminum jumped 4%. Smelters throughout the region are curtailing production, which affects people who enjoy soft drinks and beer. And you also need aluminum for medical imaging to see what kind of damage the soft drinks and beer have done to your body. Medical helium is also used for medical imaging. Hang on. Can I do it? Okay.
Medical helium is also used for medical imaging, and cancer diagnosis around the world rely on medical
Helium. 30% of all medical helium comes from the Persian Gulf. Silicon Valley also needs helium. The price of helium is rising, not just because it's helium. It's going up. There's a shortage of helium. This is now being called the worst interruption of the global energy chain in world history. Worse than the 1973 oil embargo. Why? Because OPEC shut off the spigot in 1973. They chose to create the shortage. This is war. And Iran has partly chosen to create the shortage, but they're doing permanent damage to the infrastructure that goes into making petroleum products. And that has been estimated it's going to take anywhere between 5 and 10 years to rebuild the infrastructure that's getting destroyed. And then again, it's going to cost money to rebuild. More importantly, humanitarian aid agencies worldwide say the rising cost of fertilizer and fuel is exacerbating what is already going on, and that is worldwide famine. It's estimated that if this war continues into June, 45 million additional people will be starving, especially in the sub-Saharan and Asia. We're already at close to 1 billion people on the planet starving. And it's getting worse because of Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Marco Rubio, who got rid of U.S. aid. Yes, Marco Rubio is in charge of foreign aid. Our Secretary of State, who just called Iran's decision to charge a $2 million toll to pass through the Strait of Hormuz illegal and immoral. He called it illegal and immoral for Iran to charge $2 million. That's Marco Rubio, who oversaw the largest cut to foreign aid in American history. In real dollars, Trump and Rubio and Musk cut foreign aid by 50%. It's estimated in the past year 1 million people around the world relying on the United States for food and medicine have died. U.S. aid was one of the only reasons people around the world liked us. Lancet estimates that if American spending on foreign aid continues at this reduced rate, over the next 4 years, 14 million people, nearly half children, will die. And Marco Rubio, who helped launch this war, who cuts foreign aid in half, calls Iran immoral.